Woman granted an emergency protective order saying that Rajon Rando menaced her with a gun over some video games with kids.
Damn.
It's Talking Shit podcast here. I'm Dr. Evil.
I'm Captain Paul.
And we got a doozy for you. This is hot off the presses from ESPN.
Hot information about Rajon Rando. And this is some pretty serious subject matter, wouldn't you have to say, Evil?
Absolutely. And the story is really bizarre. You know, we talked in the past about Trevor Bauer and the fact that his accuser could not even obtain a restraining order when normally the judges hand them out like candy, right? And you look at this and it's like, whoa, she gets the restraining order. And the details are a little weird. So let's go through this a little bit. Woman granted emergency protective order or an EPO against Rajon Rondo. Alleges the former Boston Celtics championship winning point guard threatened her with a gun. NBA on Monday said it's in the process of gathering more information after veteran point guard Rajon Rando allegedly threatened a woman with a gun at her house last week. The woman filed for an emergency protective order against Rajon Rando on Friday in Louisville, Kentucky, a copy of which was obtained by ESPN's Baxter Holmes. The order was granted later that day. Her allegations were made in the request for the EPO. We're not talking about performance-enhancing drugs here, folks. We are talking about an emergency protective order. She alleges that Rondo and a child were playing video games Wednesday when she asked the child to separate laundry. Rondo reacted angrily, according to the woman, ripping the game console out of the wall and smashing several items in the house, leaving the boy and another child there upset.
A true gamer moment, apparently. It fucking happened.
Okay.
That's crazy.
The woman alleges that Rondo said to her, "You're dead," before leaving the house, only to return shortly thereafter, this time with a gun and demanding to see one of the children. The woman said she grew scared of the situation, so she brought the child downstairs, and Rondo pulled the child outside, allegedly while holding the gun, while he yelled at him. He then demanded to see the other child too, and she also came outside, as Rondo yelled at both of them for being afraid of him. According to the EPO obtained by ESPN, the woman called former interim Louisville Metro Police Chief Yvette Gentry, who eventually arrived at the house. However, the woman said Rondo wouldn't allow Gentry inside. The woman said she locked herself in the house with the kids, and Gentry eventually told her Rondo had left and she had his gun. The woman filed for the protective order Friday, saying in it that she feared for the safety of the children and that Rondo has a history of volatile, erratic, explosive behavior. He must remain 500 feet from the women and the children and must temporarily surrender any firearms to Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. Okay, so whoa, these are some explosive allegations. I gotta know, Cap, you are a longtime Boston Celtics fan, and you have seen the evolution of Rajon Rondo since when he was a rookie, all the way till now, where he's playing like the 10th man off the bench.
Yeah, he's playing off the bench essentially for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I've seen the progression of Rondo since he was a rookie in Boston when he helped us win a championship. And, quite frankly, Rajon, he was very competitive and he would get on teammates' nerves, but there was never anything reported about him having this erratic a behavior. The one thing that is extremely peculiar, like, first off, the story itself sounds extremely, extremely out there. Like, he plays a video game, rages, just, gets into an argument with the kid and her, smashes shit against the walls and stuff of that manner. And then the one thing that didn't make sense is that he had a gun, like was threatening her and the kids while having a gun. And then he eventually leaves the premises and she has the gun. You know
No,
what I mean?
the former police chief.
Yeah.
He gave her the gun.
Okay. Because
Right.
that's where I got confused. I'm like, wait,
Right.
he freely gave up the gun. I just
Right.
feel like a lot more information has to come out for this to be a little bit more conclusive. But I don't know. It just seems some athletes can have undiagnosed mental issues, but I don't know. I don't know if everything adds up here in this story.
Well, I will tell you, as somebody who is not a Boston Celtics fan, that looked at that team, especially during the 2008 playoff run, Rajon Rondo has always looked erratic to me. Mm-hmm. And if you look at his tumultuous relationship with his teammates in Boston, his teammates did not like him very much when he was there. And so I look at his maturation process in the league. He seemed to have kind of gotten that under control a little bit.
He seemed mature a lot while he got older.
But at the same time, I really do. I look at the situation and I think that it is very, reasonable to assume that the story is true, because if you think about it, right? If you look at that story and you look at what she said, I believe that she did what she said, that I believe that she did exactly what she said that she did, and that it would have that kind of a reaction. And I think that she knew that it would have that kind of reaction. I want to highlight this here, right? Okay. I want to highlight this. In it, she alleged that Rondo and a child were playing video games when she asked the child to separate laundry. So what that tells me is she knew that the child, possibly his child, was having an activity with the child's father. She knew that she was going to be interrupting time between that boy and Rondo. And it's possibly why they're not together anymore. So she knew that this would draw some reaction from him. And I believe that she did this to trigger him. I don't believe that he just out of the blue just starts ripping stuff out of the wall. I think that this is one of those convenient reports where she puts the truth in there, but not the whole truth.
So you're kind of thinking of the ilk that this is something that is built up over time, and then this just eventually made Rondo snap. Now, I could definitely see that side of the argument, but I will say this, and to make it transparent, what he did, if it is true, you can't do that. You
can't do that. Absolutely not. But when you say that you don't think the story adds up, I believe that her level of toxicity, would draw an outsized reaction from the likes of him. I believe that she knows how to push his buttons. And I believe that there is still a part of him that is still very unhinged and undisciplined. And I think that this is one of those situations where people really don't care about us or what we do until we do something that that overreacts to a situation.
Yeah, I would have to say when you are someone that is, when you're explaining it, see, like for me, I get what you're saying with erratic with his behavior because he was very tumultuous with a lot of his teammates when he
I
was
don't think there are
younger.
many people in the NBA that like that actually like Rajon Rondo. I
But
don't really think there are
I would
many.
have to say the same thing about guys like Chris Paul, or you know what I mean. Like there's certain guys that just have that type A personality where no one's gonna like them.
Well, no, but the thing is, Chris Paul has had good relationships with his teammates, except for James Harden, because James Harden is James Harden. But who gets along with James Harden, right?
No, he's also had other relationships with other guys where you've had like Paul can be very difficult to get along with. Like kind of getting back like Kobe Bryant, right? I'll use him as another example. Like during his playing days, if you weren't playing a certain way, like Kobe would get up in your ass. You know what I
Right, but
mean?
Rondo was annoying to everybody, even the players who were better than him and had championship pedigree. He was annoying to those guys. It's different when you're talking about having some sort of competitive fire. Everybody knows about the competitive fire, but it just seemed that by and large, wherever he goes, his teammates just don't really like him.
Yeah, well, to be fair, he can just be a guy that's maybe not very likable, but to
Right.
be fair to Rondo, later in his career, he helped win the LeBron Lakers a championship in the bubble. And let's be honest, LeBron can
Yeah, but
be
this is not a referendum on
no,
his
I know,
skill.
but what
This
I'm
is a
saying,
referendum on whether we believe that he is unhinged like this.
what I'm saying is, if you kind of let me expand upon it,
Yeah.
is that he essentially is like, okay, he's kind of moved on. He's learned to work better with other people, not necessarily their friends, but he's worked better with other people. So I think with Rondo though, is like when you have that inside you, when you have a temper issue or kind of a little bit erratic behavior, or maybe from since childhood, there's always going to be that part of you that's inside, right? You may work through it with therapy, you may work through it just talking it out, but there's going to be that point where you snap and you go back into old habits.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I could see a guy like Rajon Rondo having some temper issues. So if you have a woman, and it's obviously all alleged, if she was kind of creating a situation where it became toxic, where she's taking away, father and son time,
Mm-hmm.
that could have been a trigger for him. Like, yo, I'm tired of this shit. And then he's like, you know what? Fuck that. And then just started slamming shit and, reacting. Now, am I condoning the way he acted? Absolutely not. You need to have more self-control. But I do agree with you. Like, to me, this police report doesn't add up because I feel like there's a lot of pieces missing because it doesn't make sense. It's not like this dude was playing NBA 2K, missed a shot and just started going the fuck off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that doesn't make sense. So there was obviously something more to it that happened here where she was probably knew this was going to be something that's very sensitive to Rondo, knew it was going to fucking piss him off, but she wanted to do it anyways.
Right. And I think that she might have been angling, hoping that something like this would happen. Not to the point where, he's brandishing a firearm. I don't think that she wanted that, but I think that, I don't know. I think that she probably was angling for an angry reaction so she would have an excuse to, further limit visitation or anything like that. But, I do believe that this actually happened because if you look at what was said here, a former police chief showed up at the house and Rondo gives her the gun, right? Yeah. So she's on the scene. She gains possession of his weapon. So it makes it very clear to me that children were involved. He was involved with the woman when he had the weapon. He wasn't like trying to fend off some sort of outside attacker or anything like that. That this is purely on him and what he did. So he did the right thing and gave up the weapon.
Yeah.
I don't understand the whole thing about Rondo not letting Gentry inside, but the woman locked herself in the house, that doesn't kind of jive very well.
I don't know. I think the reporting on this self is very spotty because some of it just doesn't make sense.
Right.
So,
but it does make sense. But what doesn't make sense in the Trevor Bauer incident? Trevor Bauer allegedly essayed a woman twice over, multiple week stretch, where she traveled to him.
Yep.
And she files his protective order some other time after bragging to all her friends that she's going to try to ruin his life. In this case here, this happens on Wednesday. She calls a former police chief on Wednesday. The protective order is filed by Friday. This woman's not playing. Yeah. Now, whether or not she planned any of this, don't really care. This is not something that is defensible. This is not something that we at TSP condone on any level, because I'm more likely to believe her because she got a member of law enforcement involved and did so very quickly. Apparently, this is the type of person that Rondo would listen to. She got the kids inside. I don't think it was a good idea for her to bring the kids down, but facing a firearm, you don't really know what the perfect thing to do in a situation like that, right? You don't really know. So I think that she did the best that she could when things got violent.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we don't really talk about very much is, we don't talk a lot about the toxicity where people are looking to provoke you into doing something that you would not normally do. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's definitely a lot more to this story. But as far as the allegations are concerned, does it really matter if there's more to this story? Because if what she alleges is true, it really doesn't matter what she did to trigger him. This reaction,
you can't condone it. Shouldn't happen.
Is way outsized. It's, he may not have hit her. He may not have hit any of the children. But I look at this as abuse. In fact, holding the gun and yelling at the kids for being afraid, that's child abuse. I don't care.
Yeah, no, you can't be waving guns around, screaming with kids and stuff like that. If you're going to be a gun owner, you need to have a responsible aura about you. And that is not okay.
Look at this line here. Look at this line here. He yelled at both of them for being afraid of him.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, what reaction do you expect from a child when you're destroying things in the house and now you're holding a gun and threatening their mother with it? What were you expecting, Rajon, for the kids to be like, yay?
It's like, Daddy, it's like we're playing Fortnite, like some fucking wacky. I don't know, man. I just think personally,
that woman almost built the house to get in,
Yeah,
I don't know. I think that she is probably a shitty human being. And so I want to put that out there because some people might try to make excuses for him and say, well, but she's like this. Yeah, we're going to concede that she's probably an asshole. However, I don't care how much of an asshole she can be. She could call him an alien-looking motherfucker. She could do that. Doesn't matter what she says or does outside of violence. This is something that is like really nasty and really wrong. And if this is true, I would hope he would spend a couple of years in jail.
Yeah.
Maybe not do like hard prison time, but he needs to spend a couple of years in jail. Now, we know with these celebrities, especially since he's a favorite son, because he's from there.
Yeah.
Right. I would like to see something more than an EPO. For those that don't know, we explained it earlier, an emergency protective order. I would like to see criminal charges on this. What do you think?
It's child endangerment. It's very irresponsible with a firearm. He should probably lose his right to bear arms. Because if you're doing something like that around children, it shows to me you don't deserve to have a firearm. You're not responsible enough, or you're not in the right mental state to have it.
Absolutely.
So I think no, that you shouldn't be allowed to have a gun. And then also, frankly, hey, you know what? This woman, she's like you said, probably a piece of shit. But at the same time, we here at TSB condone any type of these actions. Someone who shoots firearms, owns his own firearms, I would never, ever in my fucking sane mind pull out a gun and start waving around like fucking just start throwing gamer consoles, start shooting consoles. I know he didn't shoot consoles, but you know what I mean? It's just the way he acted is completely disgusting, and it shows a lack of sanity that we really do need in these times. So we definitely have to shut it down. But for me, I would be fine with jail time. If at the very very least, he needs to be those firearms. See ya. No longer yours, bud. If you start to wave guns around and threaten a woman in front of kids, waving around a pistol, doesn't make sense. So, but that's pretty much all I have to say. What about you?
Well, I want to make it very clear that I really do not believe that there is any justification for what she alleges took place. I believe that she is being backed up by someone who used to be a high-ranking officer. She was able to diffuse the situation, get him to surrender the weapon, get him to leave the premises. So I think that she did a good job. So I want to shout out to former Metro Police Chief Yvette Gentry. All too often, law enforcement officers or former law enforcement officers, they tend to escalate situations. And here is a woman who de-escalated the situation properly. I want to give a lot of credit to the woman that is making the allegation, because she was very clear in the actions that were taken that necessitated the emergency protective order. She did not engage in anything that would lead me to believe that she would make a false accusation. I think when it comes to Rajon Rando and his rights to bear arms, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to agree with you and say that he does not deserve to be able to bear arms, simply because he is not using them for their intended purposes. So I think that if you are menacing someone with a weapon who is not physically or verbally threatening you, and they're not physically threatening to you, and this goes, not just talking about the women, I'm talking about the children. I think that it's best for the guns to go in his case. And it is very clear to me that he really does need some psychological evaluation and assistance.
Absolutely. I think we kind of go along with that, and pretty much agree with everything you have to say there. And hopefully he gets the mental help that he needs. I will say, if you guys are watching this video and you're new to the channel, appreciate it if you could like, comment, and subscribe. Me and Evil here bring a lot of content, usually daily, maybe even multiple videos a day. and we would love to see you around the channel. So if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe and check out the back catalog. We have a lot of different topics we cover, whether it be sports, politics, societal issues, everything underneath the sun. And I look forward to seeing you around the channel.
And yeah, we up out of here.
Peace.